In this video, I'm going to tell you how I came through AFib, atrial fibrillation, to where I got healthy enough to donate a kidney, coming up. I never imagined that I would ever be able to get rid of having an arrhythmia, which was AFib and also SVT. But I was able to get rid of that through a procedure and got well enough through diet and exercise to be able to donate a kidney. Hello Healthinistas, and welcome to my channel 50 something. My name is Bernice. On this channel, I give you health and wellness tips for women over 50, inside and out. I give you kidney donor updates and funny stories with my daughter. So if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, but don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any time I upload. About a few years after I had my children, I would say not very long after I had my children, I started developing where I would have an irregular heartbeat. And over a period of time, it got worse. And I don't want you to do what I did, which is wait year after year after year thinking you had to live that way. But what would happen is that I would have an irregular heartbeat. I would have AFib, which in my atrium, it would just like pulsate, and SVT, which was Supraventricular Tachycardia. So that means I would just be sitting there or standing there, and all of a sudden my heart rate would just take off. My heart would start beating and take off and be as high as 200 beats per minute. I know this because I was given a heart monitor to wear when my doctors were trying to figure out how to best deal with that situation. So it was decided that after wearing the heart monitor that I had AFib and I had SVT, which is supraventricular tachycardia. Like I said, my heart would just be racing. And not only is it racing, but it also was irregular. So both of these things are considered arrhythmia. And if an arrhythmia is not taken care of, you can actually get a stroke from it. After I went to see a specialist, which is an electrophysiologist, he decided the best route for me was for him to do a catheter ablation. Now, a catheter ablation is where they take this electrode and it uses radio frequency, and they will insert it in your groin area. It can go either through the vein or the artery, depending on what kind of problem you're having. And then they thread it all the way through your vein and then come to your heart and burn with radio frequency, burn whatever it is that is causing your heart to kind of get in that loop. And it's usually called a focus. So they did that, and when it was time for me to have the ablation, I was on the OR table, and trust me, the OR table is not very comfortable. It is hard. It wasn't like really soft bed with a mattress, no. Anyway, I was awake because they just pretty much gave me a local, and I was supposed to be awake so that they'd be able to assess the situation as well as talk to me. So when they went in and burnt the focus, all of a sudden I went into AFib even worse than what I've ever been through. My neck was hurting, my head was hurting, my heart was racing at an ungodly speed. I don't even know how fast it was, and I could hear them saying, "We didn't expect this." And I was just really petrified. All I could think of was, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And they're going to kill me. And so what they did was then they gave me anesthesia to knock me out completely. Because remember, at that time I was awake. And they shocked my heart back into rhythm. And they went back and burnt another focus. So when I woke up, I kid you not, I had burn marks, one under my breast and one off to the side where the patches had been to shock my heart back into normal rhythm. So they must have used quite a bit for me to have those marks on my skin. And like I said, Once I got out, recuperation was difficult. I didn't feel myself. I didn't feel the greatest. And I'd heard of people that had ablations and they were fine. But I was that small percentage that had some complication because there was something else there that they apparently didn't see in the echocardiogram when they did that. So
a lot of patients with atrial fibrillation have an echocardiogram, but what a lot of people don't understand is why they need the echocardiogram and what is the information that is particularly useful that an echocardiogram can give you if you have atrial fibrillation. So here goes. The first thing to say is an echocardiogram is an ultrasound-based assessment of the heart. Okay, it is painless, it is harmless to the patient, it is readily available in most hospitals, and it can give a very large amount of very useful information both about the structure and, more importantly, about the function of the heart. Okay, remember, a lot of the imaging that we do is based around taking still pictures, but the heart is a moving object, and therefore in an ideal world you want to be able to study the movement, and you want to be able to study the changes that are occurring in the heart with that movement, i.e. the physiological changes that are happening in the heart, and echocardiography is the best investigation to give you that information.
It was unexpected. I don't fault the doctors at all. I think they did a great job in keeping me alive. And so my recuperation was extremely hard. And at the time I was teaching math in high school, and it was really hard. I couldn't even walk up the stairs without breathing hard, being exhausted. My chest would hurt sometimes. And so I told my husband, I said, if I continue to teach, I'm going to die. So he said, okay, come on home. I finished out the fall semester and didn't go back the spring semester. That meant that my salary was gone. So we had to depend on savings, which is a good thing to have. Savings and my husband's salary. And so I stayed home and recuperated. I really took care of myself, took good care of myself. I was eating right, but it took a while for my heart to heal. My husband told me after I came to that the doctors had actually come out to tell the family that there were complications. You know, when the doctors come in, they have that look on their face. My family was a little scared because they were like, what is going on? And they came to tell them that it would take longer than they had anticipated. So what should have just been like a 2-hour thing ended up taking several hours. It took me a while to recuperate, and I was eating right and exercising. This was in 2011. It happened, my ablation was on November 30th, 2011. Now, mind you, I had just lost my mother in August of that year. And my mother was always there whenever I had a child. The one other time I had surgery, my mother was there, and she came and stayed for several weeks, and that was with my hysterectomy in 2004. So here I was, November 30th, 2011. I had this catheter ablation with these complications and not doing well, and I was in tears because I missed my mother. I knew she would have been right there with me. So fast forward, I've been taking care of myself over the years. It took me about 10 months really seriously before I could go apply for another job. I decided not to go back to teaching. My background is in chemistry, and so I decided to get a job in chemistry that actually was lesser than what my degree was, but I needed something that wasn't as stressful. And actually, I'm still there to this day until I get to work for myself. So I'm working hard. So you guys gotta help me to work for myself by sharing this video so that I can start seeing some successes. I was eating right. Like I said, I still eat carbs, but I cut down on carbs, like starchy carbs, not a whole lot of it, but I still eat some. I cut down on sugar. I still eat some sugar, but not a whole lot. And so eating lean meats and then exercising. And like I said, my sister's dance workout, Kukuwa Fitness, I'll put the link in the description, was awesome for me. So I did that, and then in 2016, my son and I were visiting my niece and I saw all the boxes of dialysate that she had because she had to do peritoneal dialysis. And that's when I decided that I was secretly going to try to get tested to see if I was a match for her, because her kidney function was gone and she was having to do dialysis. And so I secretly got tested, and I tell you all about that in my videos on my life as a kidney donor. Check that playlist out. And I got tested, and I found out I was a match and told her and my whole family about it. On December 20th, 2016, I was able to donate my kidney to my niece at age 52. Dr. Sanjay Gupta from York Cardiology. He's a proponent of diet and exercise to help with heart conditions. And I am so excited that I was able to connect. And so here he is.
Having spent almost 28 years in medicine, I've come to the following conclusions. I believe that the healthcare industry rarely ever provides healthcare. Instead, it provides disease management by using expensive and potentially harmful pills to mask symptoms. Secondly, I believe people come to see doctors to be engaged, educated, and empowered rather than being given a set of pills before being shown the door. I think lifestyle management is perhaps the single most effective therapy in medicine, and yet largely ignored because it is boring and not as profitable as promoting the newest and often most expensive tablets. I believe that high quality, reliable, jargon-free information about health should be available at no cost to everyone in the world. Unfortunately, many people rely on Google to answer their questions and are often left confused and anxious because of the unreliability and variability of the quality of information. I think the media, the pharmaceutical industry, and often the healthcare industry profit by promoting fear rather than providing reassurance and empathy. I want to do things differently. I want to use the power of the internet to provide everyone with high quality, reliable, and evidence-based resource for medical information. I want to impart knowledge in an empathic and reassuring manner. I want to empower patients to take control of their health by addressing their lifestyles and preventing disease from happening in the first instance. And most of all, I want people to stop being fearful and anxious about their health by getting them to focus on improving their quality of lives and living fearlessly.
Question: did you know about catheter ablations? If so, leave your experience with that through a loved one or by yourself in the comments, because I would love to read it. If not, and you have someone that's suffering from AFib, maybe you can ask them to ask their electrophysiologist, which is a special brand of cardiology, to see if they would be a good candidate.